Alrighty, so now we're kind of at the last piece of the puzzle. We basically just got to get GitHub working. So the first thing that we're going to do is we got to create an account. Now, I think I used this email before. I'm going to go ahead and do it again. I'm going to make a new account and screw it. I'll do all my GitHub stuff from this account from now on. For y'all at least. Maybe not. I'll probably wind up switching computers. So when I switch computers, I'll probably just go back to my regular one. Anyways, I want to walk y'all through the process of what it's going to be like. First, let me exit out of Cirillo's and go into my own. So I'm now in a guest account here. Don't worry about what I just did there. You're probably not going to have to do the same thing. So I'm going to go to github.com and I am going to click sign up. So I am going to sign up. My username is going to be user man, no, Kona the band. Great. I don't know why a band would have their own GitHub, but whatever. So again, you can look that one up on Spotify. Back when I used to be in a band. Email address is going to be konatheband.com. The password is going to be, yeah. You don't know the password. And we have to solve a puzzle to verify that I'm a real person. Pick the spiral galaxy. I don't know what a spiral galaxy looks like, but I'm guessing that's the spiral galaxy. That one? Cool. All right, sweet. So there we go. I'm going to create this account. Oh, I didn't click it. I did the waiting dance before I needed to do. Let's see. I'm a teacher. I educate people. How much programming experience do I have? A moderate amount. There's some people with like a lot of experience, so way more experience than me. All righty, cool. What do I plan to use GitHub for? Schoolwork and other projects? Host a project? Whatever. I'll just do host a project. I am going to learn Git and GitHub too. Select up to 3. Collaborating with my team. Okay, whatever. You don't really have to worry about what that is. Let's see. I'm interested in everything is what I'm going to write here. Great. Awesome. Cool. I'm interested in everything. I don't know. Whatever. I don't really care. This isn't my real GitHub account. It actually is worth putting a little bit of effort into making your GitHub look nice. Maybe like treat it like a Facebook account or something like that. I mean, you're not going to make posts on it all the time like, ooh, felt cute, might delete later. But the general concept is that employers are going to be looking at your GitHub once you get a little bit more established. So having it look nice is cool. If you're curious what mine looks like, it's got some, whoops. It's got all this stuff here. So yeah, here's my GitHub, and you can see it's decent to look at. So maybe putting some time into making a nice little description there, talk a little bit about yourself, talk a little bit about this stuff is a little fancy. We could talk about that another day. That's definitely way down the road, but just be mindful. I would not make your name something crazy. Like I always used to make my name in Pokemon when I was a kid, Poop. I would not do that for your GitHub name. I mean, maybe it'll work out for you in the long run. So I am going to go check my email because we just have to verify that real quick. And I'm logging in at Kona the band. I think it was this. Yep. And now it says verify your email address. So I'm going to click verify. Bada boom, bada bing. We're on GitHub. Now, that's the first step of the puzzle here. We already did install Git on our computers, so we can actually check that if I just type in which Git. See how I already have Git installed here? Awesome. Sweet. So now that we have all this stuff working, we got to configure some stuff. So what I want to do is I want to go back to my little computer setup that I made for y'all, and I'm going to post the link. So y'all will have access to this link if you can't read that. I don't know, it might be small. Sometimes the resolution is a little bit messed up on the way it comes through. But there's a whole thing we have to do. First, we have to configure Git on our computer. So by our computer, I mean our Ubuntu terminal, not on our Windows computer. Because remember, this is a computer inside of a computer. So this is the computer that we're doing our developing off of. This is just our computer that holds our other computer, if that makes sense. Awesome. So I'm going to go into my Ubuntu terminal. Actually, before I go into my Ubuntu terminal, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to just open up anything in VS Code, just because VS Code is a nice way to edit text. And I am going to click on this little file browser here. I'm not even going to open it up that way, actually. We're going to open it up the traditional way. I'm just going to go ahead in here, and I'm going to type in code dot. Code dot, again, means open the current folder. And like I specified before, that squiggly line means that you're in your home directory. So I said, open the home directory. And now that I'm in here, I can see all my stuff inside of my home directory. Whatever, maybe it'll be useful, maybe it won't. We'll find out. Sweet. So what you want to do now is you want to open up, we're going to create a new text file. So I'm literally just going to type in, I'm going to right click on this file browser here. Oh, but I have to right click on something that's not actually a file. You could maybe scroll down a little bit. I'm going to right click and I'm going to type in new file. And I'm just going to create this. I'm just going to call it playground. And I'm not going to give it any file extension or anything like that. And this is just going to be where I could write some text or something like that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is copy these commands over. So that way I can copy them into my terminal, because we're going to have to edit these commands. So we need to configure our username and our email. So I'm just going to go ahead. Now that I'm working in VS Code, I'm totally good to use Control-C and then go into VS Code and type in Control-V. And now it copied that over. So I need to change my user email and my username. So my user email is going to be konatheband@gmail.com. And my username, I don't remember how, like I did the casing on it. Let's see, Kona the band. So it's capital in the beginning of each letter. Okay. So it's going to be my username is going to be whatever my username on GitHub is. So in this case, it's Kona the band. And now that I edited it in here, it was much easier to edit than editing it in my Ubuntu terminal. So I'm going to take here, I am going to copy this, and I'm going to go to my Ubuntu terminal, paste that, and press enter. And now my computer is saying, okay, when you want to connect to GitHub, do it with this email and do it with this name. So this is step one. All righty. So now if I did that correctly, which we didn't, I want to show you what we're looking to be able to do. What I should be able to do is go to a public repository. Let's take this, for example. This whole README is a public repository. I should be able to change this to SSH, click this clipboard here, and type in. And if this is a lot for you, don't worry. You don't need to actually copy this part. I just kind of want to show you what the goal is. I should be able to type in git clone and then this repository, and it should clone it down. But watch this. It probably won't work. Yes. Could not read because we don't have the correct access rights. So that's what we're trying to configure right now, is we are trying to get these access rights working. So it's a little bit tricky, and actually I didn't write this on here. I went ahead and, I copied a little bit too much. But basically you're gonna go ahead and go to this page and we're gonna read through it. So what we need to do is, we don't have an SSH key set up yet, but we need to just generate one. So we're gonna go to, I clicked on this. Let me reiterate what I just did. I clicked on this link here that says these steps, and then it took me into this page. At this page, what we need to do is generate a new SSH key first. So to generate an SSH key, we are going to basically just copy this command. Pretty easy, actually. I am going to Control-C, and then I am going to go into my terminal, and I'm going to paste Actually, no, we don't want to paste that yet. We want to paste it in here and edit it. I don't think I typed in the right commands. Let's try it again. I'm going to hit Control C and Control V. If you don't like doing Control C, Control V, I suggest you learn it long run. But if you're just trying to get through this and you're really stressing, you can still just highlight it, right click, copy, and then right click, paste will work. So right click, paste works too. I'm going to undo that by hitting Control and Z. Not a big deal. All righty. So now what I need to do is just change this to my email. So again, that's going to be honahtheband@gmail.com. Awesome. And now I need to copy this line of code and put it into my terminal. Bam. Enter a file in which to save the key. Don't type in anything here. You want to use that default, okay? And enter a passphrase. You could put a passphrase in here. I'll go ahead and do it just so that way you get to see what that process is like. But just know that you don't need to. And it might be a little easier to set up if you don't. Awesome. So I just created a key. What did that just do? Well, let's look actually here. So what it did was it created an SSH folder. Inside of that SSH folder, I now have 1 key, 2 keys, and this thing. Not that crazy. And I think at this point, all we really need to do, let me see. We need to add this key into the agent. So I don't know exactly how this stuff works. I've just set it up a few times, so I know how to do it. But basically what you're going to do is you are going to copy this line of code, copy straight into the terminal. Bam. Awesome, it did something. We're going to copy this line of code, copy straight into the terminal. Whoops, oh, not that terminal, sorry. Brain fart. Straight into the terminal. I put a passphrase in, so here would be that passphrase that I just created. Bam. So now I just added that identity into there. There's one step left, and it's actually not that crazy. And it's add this SSH key to your GitHub account. So I don't actually need to really go through this because I remember pretty well how it works. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your GitHub. So if I just go to this, I'm currently logged into my GitHub. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go to settings. Bam. And now that I'm in my settings, there's a place for SSH and GPG keys. Now, if you remember, that folder we just looked at is SSH keys. So we're going to copy our SSH key in. So I'm going to right click, copy. If you want, you can highlight that whole line by starting on line 2 and then moving up one, and it should copy that whole line. There's a bunch of ways you can do it. You could also just scroll over to the end, but that's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to do it this way. Copy. And then I'm going to go into here, new SSH key, call it what it is. So in other words, this is an SSH key that connects your Ubuntu terminal to GitHub. So I am just going to call this John's Ubuntu terminal. I'm going to paste it. And then now I'm going to add the SSH key. And if I did this right, I should now be able to clone repos. Repositories is what they're called. So let's go ahead and just go to a repository. So we can go to the one that I had open, which was github.com. Whoops, I got rid of it. github.com/JJHIGGZ/JRS-computer setup. And what I should be able to do is code, click that clipboard, and now inside of my terminal, type in git clone, and then just paste that. And if I did it right, oh, guess what we have now? Now what we can do is we can open up that project, which I am just going to look at called JRS Computer Setup. So I'm going to open up JRS Computer Setup in code, and let's see what that looks like. Hey, look, now we have the exact same code that I wrote on my other computer, and it's up to date. This is kind of like the purpose of GitHub, but if you can do this, if you can clone this down into your place, then you are good to go. You are gravy, baby. That's all you need. We are good to go in the program. You've made it through all of the bullshit of setting up your computer. So pat yourself on the back. But before you pat yourself on the back, we have something we got to do real quick. If you followed along this tutorial, we created a bunch of shit that we don't need. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just remove all these folders. So I'm going to type in RM. First, let's remove these files. So I want to remove my cool file. I'm going to start typing in my and then press tab. I have two things. So let's start with my. So I'm going to add a C there so that way it knows to go to my cool file. And now that I have that figured out, I can press tab and it completes with my cool file. We also want to get rid of playground since that's a file and we don't need it anymore. I'm just going to type in play. I'm going to press tab. And then now if I press enter, those check again what files are in this folder with ls. Nothing else is, I got rid of those files. And now I just want to get rid of JRS Computer Setup, my first project, and other silly folder. So I think you could actually do rmdir for remove directory. If I try and just do RM, let's try that with JRS Computer Setup. If I just try and do that, it says it can't remove it because it's a directory and RM only works on files. So what I can do is rmdir, and then I'm just going to hit tab. It's going to load up one. I'm going to hit space, tab. It's going to load up another one, space, tab, space, and now I can remove all of those. Ooh, it doesn't like that. I've never used rmdir. Let me see if that works. Don't use rmdmr. That's I just learned it yesterday, so that's the reason why I didn't know about it. I'm like, maybe this is another thing to know. What you got to do is you got to use rm and then a -rf to do it. So we're going to try that out. So we're going to delete this one. Bam, and rm-rf. We're going to do my first project. And congratulations, you now have a clean, functioning, and working computer. If you got this far, you made it through the computer setup. Now you can pat yourself on the back. Great job. This is pretty tough. I've seen so many people struggle with this. I've struggled with this. Hopefully this walkthrough will help you struggle with it a little bit less, although I'm sure it's still going to be kind of scary. All righty. Y'all have a great day.